We're just one day away from Notre Dame hosting Wake Forest, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on NBC. Wake Forest comes into this game with a 4-6 record. Notre Dame at 7-3. We're going to talk to Tim Hyde about his 3 keys to the game and his score prediction before we dive into it, folks. Of course, hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to our channel for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com for so much more preview content of this matchup. Tim, your first key to the game is first down balance. Tell us about this.
Yeah, first down balance. I mean, this is just going off of the Clemson game. Just in the first half alone, first half when you got your game plan, it's everything you've been working on all week long. You go attack the teams in the first half. Notre Dame, 12 runs out of 13 plays. So you got one pass, 8% pass rate. So you're going 92-8 against Clemson. So it's it's hard to move the ball, especially Coach Freeman and Coach Barker talked about, not having good enough success rate on first down. Yeah, because you kept doing the same thing over and over again. When you go with the Pitt the week before, they're 10 out of 16 with those 10 being passes. So is there a balance between those two games? And I went back to one of the offensive games, which they struggled. It was Louisville, but they were balanced. They were 9 out of 15 passing on first down. So there's got to be some form of a mix. You just can't come out and be all pass. You can't come out and be all run like you were against Clemson. So I think this is something they got to come into this Wake game, be somehow a 50-50, keep the defense off balance so Sam Hartman could complete some balls, and the offensive line with 2 new starters, let Audric Estime go do his thing running the ball.
Speaking of doing your thing, that's what you got for key number 2 regarding this Notre Dame defense, Tim.
Exactly. Go do your thing. You got Xavier Watts, huh? He was just a finalist for the Nagurski Award as the Defensive Player of the Year, leads the country in interceptions. You got Notre Dame top 10 in like every single pass defense metric this year. They've been solid as could be up front. Obviously, the linebackers have been playing good. It's just the points have been down. They're a top 15, top 10 defense in like everything this season. It's been a heck of a group. So when I say do your thing, go cause havoc. And, I was looking at PFF. They're in the top 15 when it comes to overall pressures and as a defense. Go cause havoc there. They're at PFF has them ranked, Mike, as the 7th ranked defense in the country. When you look at every single analytical thing on a defense, the top 4, Michigan, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State. So they're in pretty good company with the guys, up there, especially they played those, 2 of those 4. So defense, they've been the stalwarts this year. They've been the storyline. They've been outstanding. Go have a great senior day and go do your thing once again in front of the home crowd.
Third key to the game is this new offensive line for Notre Dame. We know there will be at least one change. Rocco Spindler is out for the year due to an injury, so Billy Strouth is expected to slide into the right guard position. What's interesting is if Zeke can't play concussion protocol, and then Andrew Kristofic can play, he's battling a high ankle sprain. Do they go with Kristofic over Ashton Craig, the sophomore from the Hoosier State? Kind of an interesting thing there, but it does look like Strouth is expected to start at right guard, and then it could be any of 3 different guys with Zeke, Kristofic, or Craig. So yeah, Tim, what are your thoughts here? This new offensive line.
Well, I mean, it stinks when you got some injuries because the starting 5, I mean, they've been together all season long, and that's a luxury when you get 10 games, the same starting 5 all season long. And not only that, this week they were just named one of 12 semifinalists for the Joe Moore Award to be recognized as one of the best offensive lines in the country. And sure, they've had their ups and downs. We've talked about them a ton on our show, but they got Joe Alt, who's up for, the lineman of the year for the Lombardi, the Outland, one of the premier players in the country. But Notre Dame also has one of the highest average yards per play for an entire season. Their average yards per rush is higher this season than it was a year ago, with Heastan and that really good offensive line. They ran the ball even more last year. So it's been a group that's worked very well together, had some great moments, some key games together, and now you're looking at possibly 2 new starters. But those 2 new starters have played some this year. They have gotten reps. So it's not like game 11 is the first time seeing the field. They've been a part of this. They've been in the rotation, and they've gotten on the field in some of the big blowouts this year and got some reps. So Billy Schrauff is everyone's favorite. We all expected him to be the guy this year. Now he's got to have his shot. He's the right guard moving forward these last 3 games, heading into spring football. And Ashton Craig played his tail off in the quarter and a half he got last week against Clemson, one of the premier defensive lines in the country. So very exciting to see, two young guys coming in there and going in there with obviously the way Coogan, Alt, and Fisher have played this year.
So it is senior day at Notre Dame on Saturday. Something like 31, I believe it was, that Marcus Freeman said during his Monday press conference that we'll be running or doing the walkout as seniors. Freeman said, just because someone is walking doesn't mean they're not going to, that doesn't mean that they're not returning. He said that those decisions will happen, after the season ends. So he's urges his players like, hey, if you can go, like if you're graduating, you're a senior, like go ahead and walk. We can, you might get to walk again next year. So something, just want to throw that out there for folks, just so if you see someone walk, that doesn't mean they're necessarily going. But let's go into score prediction time. Someone who will, be playing his last game inside Notre Dame Stadium was, of course, Sam Hartman, Notre Dame's quarterback, who formerly, of course, set records at Wake Forest. So he will get to play against his old team. And looking at the odd shark, Tim, they're favoring Notre Dame 35-10. That is their predicted score according to their algorithm. The spread is Notre Dame minus 24.5. The over-under at 46.5. So a big spread and a low over-under total. So Oddshark's prediction has Notre Dame winning, covering the spread, and the total going under. Tim, we'll go to you. What's your score prediction for this matchup?
I hope it's a lot like Pitt. I mean, it could definitely be a blowout. Wake is not that good this year. They're down. They got a lot of injuries. Their offensive line, Mike, they lead the country. So when I was talking about defense, do your thing, I forgot to throw this in. They have given up the most tackles for loss as an offensive line this year, and they're in the bottom 3 when it comes to giving up sacks. So defense, go out there and use those numbers and just and just get after these guys. They've played, I think 3 quarterbacks have had to play this year. There are a couple of their main wide receivers have been beat up and out. It's been a struggling football team. They play pretty good on D. They'll get after you and play really, really hard on defense. It looks like a lot of the same Mike Elko stuff that he used back in the day. They've kept in a lot of those same formulas. So it's going to be an interesting game. Senior day, 2 new offensive line starters. We have talked so much about the wide receiver position and just who's healthy, who's not, guys having to play so many spots. Man, Mike, I am going to just go with a sloppy game, and I'm just going to go 33-13 Notre Dame. It's 20 points. Take it. Get out of there. Go on to Stanford and see what happens. But if this thing ends up being 52-10, I don't think that would be surprising if the defense just wreaks havoc and creates some short fields and even gets another touchdown, which they've had a handful of those this year.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this video. Of course, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more content. Head to blueandgold.com for much more preview content of this game. And as always, folks, we will catch you next time.